So, hello everyone, this is Chandra Prakash.
And I'm Neha, your co-host.
So, YouMeNaturally is a newly started student run podcast. It discusses mainly what a teenager or in general a person faces in their day to day lives.
It talks about the different situations we get into in different phases of our life. These phases are usually not bounded by age. Here, we talk about the topics which people generally hesitate to speak on.
So, let's welcome our first guest on YouMeNaturally podcast, Miss Neha. So, Miss Neha is a tarot reader, spellcaster, manifestation coach, and occultist for about more than 2 years. So, today we mainly gonna talk about tarot reading, spirituality, and manifestation, and of course her journey and her story as well.
So, without further ado, let's get started. So, hello, ma'am. How are you feeling?
Hello, thank you so much for having me on this podcast, and I feel honored to be here to be talking to you guys about the topics that I really love. And these topics are not just something like a hobby or it's literally my life, my personal life and my professional life also. So thank you so much for having me, and yeah, I'm excited to have some interesting unique conversations with you, because spirituality is a topic that, not now of course it's changing. A lot of youth are attracted towards it because we do deal with a lot of mental health issues, so then we get attracted towards things that's unique and that's different, so that it's one of the ways of helping ourselves. But yeah, this is a weird world. The spiritual world is a weird world, because our idea of spirituality is very different. Our parents' idea, it's very different. Our grandparents' generation, the way they looked at spirituality is very different. Now it's very different. 50 years from now, it will be very different. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this big world of spirituality.
Yeah, ma'am, I totally agree with you. 10 years ago, people don't really talk about spirituality, but now the youth is talking about it. It's a great thing.
Great positive for us because means the people of our age, they are also means diverted as insert means they are showing their interest in this. So that is a big thing.
That's very, very, very true.
Uh,
10
so,
years ago, it was about like, the sadhus or the babas. Even now, they do exist. But now
yeah,
it's totally different. Now people are like, you don't have to become a sadhu to, be into spirituality. Right?
No,
So, yeah. Yeah,
that
yeah.
part is.
Yes, yes.
now people are like literally understanding the meaning of spirituality.
Yes, true.
So, ma'am, to someone who doesn't know what is tarot reading and occultist, can you explain about it? What exactly it is?
Sure. So, just like how we have religion and we have different paths within a certain religion, right? Like, for example, let's take our own, religion or culture, Hinduism. There's so many different paths. Everyone does it differently. Some people like to do murti puja, some people don't like to do, some people like to chant mantras, some people don't. So just like in the field of spirituality, there are different paths, right? There are different groups, there are different systems. So one of the system is divination. It's called divination. So what is divination? Divination is nothing but using certain tools. Earlier it was for prediction reasons. So our astrology comes under divination. Bone throwing. If you see certain cultures, I did this short course. There's this short course offered by Harvard. It's a 1 week course. It's only about divination. So I would urge all of the podcasts. It's a free course. Okay. It's a 1 week course.
Okay.
So in that you get a great idea about all of these ancient systems. So in the ancient times, people used to use, seashells or animal bones or certain human
Yeah, yeah.
body parts also back in the day to predict the future. So divination system is nothing but, using certain instruments to predict the future, right? Astrology is one such. Now pendulum also you have. Now you have teacup reading, tasseography, you have wine cup reading. You have so many different things under divination. So tarot is also a form of divination, but it goes beyond prediction. Okay. So all of these other methods started as predictive tools where you are like, okay, this will happen, this will not happen. So in tarot, we don't want to do that. We don't want to sit here and tell you will get a job, you won't get a job. We are not, we don't want to do it. We would want to give you an idea as to what you have to do and what you shouldn't do. Job though you will get, What are you doing for it? Exactly. We want to show you the path. We are nobody to tell you about the destination. Okay, you will go there, you won't go there, you will get a job, you won't get a job. Right? So and it really it uses there's this concept called tarot psychology also, right? Because in a deck of standard Rider-Waite tarot deck, you have 78 cards. And in the 78 cards, you can see the whole world. You will see friendships, you will see betrayal, you will see love, you will see money, you will see education, you will see all the major areas of your life. So everything, every small and big thing is covered in just 78 cards, right? So it is a tool, it is a predictive tool, but at the same time, it's more of a guidance tool also. So for someone who is very new, just know that we have various systems of prediction. Tarot is one such system. It's a Western system. It has not originated in India, right? It was developed by two occultists. Okay, mainly the original deck, the what we call the traditional standard deck. It's developed by A.E. Waite, Arthur Waite, and he was an occultist by practice, and Pamela Coleman Smith, who was the illustrator. Pardon, I couldn't hear.
Occultist is a person. Occultist is
Occultist
a
is
person who does tarot reading, right?
not really. Again, occult is a different thing. A person who does a tarot
Oh,
reading can be called a cartomancer. Cartomancer, somebody who uses cards, any type of cards, tarot cards, playing
mhm.
cards.
Yeah.
Cartomancer is a person who uses cards to give predictions or guidance. Occultist is a person who either researches about the occult sciences. Now, what are the occult sciences? Tantra is a form of occult science. Eastern, you have something called Eastern occult and Western occult. So Eastern may we have our Tantra, we have our Indian type Tantra, you have the Buddhist Tantra also, you have the Chinese also. So somebody who researches about these practices, these ancient practices, again the word occult means hidden. So a person who researches about these hidden philosophies, hidden topics which are hidden from the society for a reason, so that people don't misuse it. And a lot of people also don't pay attention, so it remains hidden. The more hidden it is, the more powerful it is, right? So a person who researches or either who practices. So if a tantric is an occultist, right? So occult is a darker side or a stronger side of all of these things. Tarot is a milder side. So instead of classifying it as good or bad, nothing is purely good or purely bad. Occult has a very bad
Exactly.
image associated. So nothing is fully good or fully bad, but we can call it as simple magic and extreme magic, or simple science or extreme science. Something like simple philosophy, extreme
Mhm.
philosophy, rather than good, bad, positive, negative. Nothing is fully positive or negative.
Okay. So, ma'am, how was your childhood like? I mean, where did you grow? Where did you go for your education? So, how was it like? So,
My
did you already
childhood,
had interest in this kind of? Yeah,
yeah,
you may
like
proceed,
my
please.
childhood was different because till up to second standard, I grew up with my parents. So third standard to 10th standard, I grew up with my grandmother. So my parents lived in the Middle East, and I couldn't adjust to the food or the climate over there. And the education is also not really good over there. I don't know about now, but I'm talking about years ago, right? So it wasn't good back in there, and so my parents decided, like, let her study in India or let her live in India with. So I lived with my grandma. It was different because it was different from any normal childhood. I'll tell you why. Because when you have a normal childhood with your parents, you get used to certain things. You become dependent on them. And you get pampered, you get all of that. But when you grow away from them, you learn a lot of things at a very young age. You learn to manage yourself, you learn to do things on your own. So in that manner, it was different. But yeah, in terms of learning, school, everything happened in a smaller city in Karnataka itself called Shimoga. It's a smaller city. um, if you would have heard about the Joke Falls, which is a huge waterfall, it's one of the most prominent waterfalls in India. So that is located in that city, right? So I did my schooling over there, and my plus 2 and my degree I'm in Bangalore. So my childhood was good. It was you know unique because I had to learn so many things, but I'm really happy that I learned all of that at a young age. you know Looking back, maybe then I was frustrated, like why should I do everything and all of that. But I had really good support, and the spiritual thing also started on very early because my grandma, uh, you know she's very much into spirituality, and she is very much into so I do not belong to like I belong to a tribal culture. Banjaras, if you would have heard, Lambani, Banjaras. So we are tribal, we're a tribal community. So our practices, our rituals are naturally occult in nature. Let alone ye western occult you leave, we are naturally more on that side. Our practices, the way we worship our gods, it's very different. So from a very young age I noticed the difference. In my friend's house or my neighbor's house, the way they do the puja is very different, but in our house it's very different. So there must be something, you know but I never really questioned it. When you're a kid, you normalize everything. And because I was with my grandma, and I was like very stubborn, and hey, what, this old lady will do something, I'm not interested, let her do whatever she wants. And now I regret it. Wish I had observed a lot, wish I had learned a lot. I was with her for 10 years, and 10 years is a long time. You could have learned so much, but because I was ignorant, I didn't actually like learn anything from her directly. But some things I've observed, some things I have you know try to imitate by seeing her, the way she does puja or meditation and divination, as I was talking about you. So she uses a method of divination. So there's this small, it's a regional method of divination where people use their chain or necklace as a pendulum to predict yes or no. So she used to do that. In fact, my first introduction for divination is also my grandma. So that those things I've observed. But yeah, we never had a conversation directly up until my 10th. And once I came here, and since the last 2.5, 3 years, um, then of course I went back and asked her, and like tried to connect with her spiritually. So that was my childhood, normal. But at the same time, mm, it was really good to learn things early on in life, to learn self control, independence, right? So yeah, that was my childhood.
Wow, I mean, it's wonderful to hear that.
I think I
Yes,
just
because
got lucky
you are
with
telling
it.
that you were so young.
Yeah, I think I got lucky with
Yeah.
it.
So,
A
ma'am,
lot of
you were
people
so young
discover.
at that time and you realize these kind of things. So these things also does matter, right? As you told
Yeah,
that you kind of ignored this thing, but these things became a part of your journey.
true. Subconsciously, all of it is still stored in me. So if I sit and if I close my eyes and try to remember, I can play those memories in my head. Yes, consciously, I didn't observe what she was doing. I never had that conversation. But maybe because I was present around her energy, I could, like store certain things in my mind. So if I close my eyes and sit and imagine, I can see what she was doing. And then now I can understand what it is. But back then, I was like, Arey, let this old woman do anything she wants. What is she? She's just wasting her time. This is their life. That's very ignorant. So that's what I keep telling people. If you have, your grandparents around you, observe them. They know a lot more secrets than you do.
Yeah, they've seen way more life than us.
Exactly. So we have just seen barely 18 to 20 years, and they have experience
Yes.
of like 60, 70, 80. So
Yes.
they have seen the world changing through. They have seen technology getting introduced to
Exactly.
us. So that changes everything, right?
I feel in your journey it has a lot to do with you not being with your parents, with you being just with your grandparent, or just
True,
with
true,
your
true.
grandmother. So I feel it has a lot to do with it.
Correct.
So, ma'am, if somebody wants to pursue this as a career, how to go about it? I mean, is there any specific process? How
See, if you take up anything as a career, and this if you want to make this field as your profession, it comes under business, right? You have to have that business acumen. You must know how to manage things. You must know how to talk to people, right? Because here you will get all, especially in this field, you will get all sorts of people. You will get believers, you will get non-believers. You will get people who will love you and believe your work, and you'll get haters as well. You will get people who target you, and this is a very easy field to get targeted. I'll tell you why. Because spirituality is not something that everybody believes in. Now, if I'm selling a physical product, nobody can really hate me unless the quality is really bad. Nobody can tell that your pen or your product doesn't exist only, right? If the quality is bad, they will bash you. But here, they can question you. They will be like, does this even exist? Are you real or are you a fraud? So, especially in recent times, there have been a lot of fraud people. So, initially, when you're going to start, it can be difficult to build a client range, to get clients. It can be difficult because people won't trust you. And whatever you do, you're going to do through social media, right? And lesser the followers, it's basic psychology. They won't trust you. With fewer reviews, fewer followers, people, don't trust you. So this is the main reason why a lot of people start, but they cannot be consistent. But I'll tell you, this is the main thing. Everyone starts with 0 followers. Everyone starts with 0 reviews. Nobody starts with a built 50K, 500 reviews page, right? So consistency is extremely important, and having a brand image is extremely important. So if you open my page today, it has a very distinct look. There's a feel to it. So you enter any actress's page and come back to my page, you will feel the energy shift, right? You will feel your outlook change. So this is not a coincidence. This is a strategy that I've used, so that when people open my page, they must feel nice, they must feel curious, they must feel intrigued, they must go through everything that I've posted. So planning is extremely important. Brand colors is important. Knowing what is your strength. So since I deal with social anxiety, and which I'm working on, and I'm better at it now, but when I started, I was really bad at it. So if I deal with that, what is my strength? Okay, I don't want to come in front of the camera. Fine. What can I do without it? Right? So there are other forms of content. So you don't have to keep posting reels. Maybe IGTV is your way of doing things. Maybe reels is your way. Maybe using stories as a way to build your brand is your thing. Right? So it's very important to figure out who you are as a person and to represent it. That is very important. And knowledge. If you have the knowledge, you will you will create content. So in order to create any type of content in this space, you need to have the knowledge. Either you can self learn. So this is something I keep telling people. Spirituality is a vast world. It is next to impossible to master one topic also within spirituality, let alone the entire thing. Even one topic you cannot master. But start with a specialization, or start with one topic. You can self teach yourself things. You don't have to have a guru for everything. But if you have a mentor with you, the process is much faster. So you can self teach yourself or have a mentor. That's not the problem. You don't always have to have certifications. Certifications don't really indicate anything. Like, I don't have a certificate. I don't have any certificate with me. But because I self taught myself, and with practice I got better. So you don't really have to have everything. Even while creating content, people think that you need to have hundreds of props. If to become a reader, you need to have 50 tarot decks. Not really not needed, right? So start small, start with what you have. Figure out who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses. Use your strengths and have a strategy. And please be consistent. It's going to take a lot of time. Some luck is involved.
Clearly.
Some reels will become viral instantly, which you didn't even plan. So really recently, a month ago, I was in this I was at this place, and I simply created a reel out of nowhere. No strategy, nothing. And that went viral. And sometimes you sit and spend hours brainstorming and trying to perfect something, but it's not. So don't pay so much of attention to everything. Relax, go with the flow. And at the same time, analyzing your audience is very important. To know whom you're catering to.
Your viral is not viral. That has a lot to do with you being consistent with all of your work.
Exactly. Consistency is very important. Any business, yours, mine, the field doesn't matter. Product-based business, service-based business, personal brand, corporate brand, it doesn't matter. Consistency is important. You cannot give up. Some days it won't work. Some days nobody will reach out to you. Nobody will come to you. Your ads also will not work. You're putting money into Instagram ads, even that may not work. So you should never let that be, the determiner of whether you will be successful or not. Start doing it. And don't wait for perfection. If you see my old posts, most of it which I've deleted, it was hideous, atrocious. Nobody can even look at it. It was that bad. But if you cannot create 50 such bad content, you cannot create that one really good content. So don't wait that my first post is going to look very aesthetic. I will use the best apps in the world. I will buy all the premium accounts. I'll buy Canva Premium. Don't wait for all of that. Just create it. It may look bad. Maybe 2 years from now, what I am creating today may look bad in my eyes because my standards would have improved. So that's normal. Don't be too attached with your content. Just put it out there. If the message reaches, it's a hit.
We can completely understand, because when we were starting to shoot this, we were like, the lighting is not good.
Exactly.
This is not good. And we were like, okay,
So maybe, let's say the 100th episode, your background will look very different. The way you guys will speak will be different. But if you're not creating this first episode, how will you reach the 100th episode, right? So this is very important. The 99th may not be that important, but this is very important, the first episode or the first few episodes. So just go ahead with it.
So one should say consistency instead of perfection. That's what you meant, right?
Exactly. Especially if you want to build a business on social media. Other businesses, I don't know, but on social media, it's not so much under your control, right? And at the same time, build your brand on parallel platforms, because it's social media. It can get deleted. So have a website, build an email list over there. So do all of this. And this is something that I learned with time. I did not start with all of this knowledge. So consult people, ask people, right? That's very important.
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. And also, just talking about those beliefs thing, you told that your page has a vibe. Means even I have sensed that there is a very positive kind of vibe attached to it. And talking about beliefs, so we have read one in Instagram post which you told about a 1111 wish. So what exactly is a 1111 wish? Can you elaborate?
So this 1111 is a very famous thing in the spiritual world. It's one thing that's always out there. You'll always, it's my 1111 wish. People have it tattooed. So what is this 1111 thing, going on? So actually there are many numbers. 1111 is just the popular face. So we call this, you can call it angel numbers, you can call it divine numbers. Even in our numerology, even in Indian numerology, every number holds every number. It can be any number. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be single digit, it can be repeating. Every number holds an energy, right? That's the belief. So in that, 1111 is famous because it is believed to be the number of manifestation, or it is believed to be the face of some good energy. Right? So this 1111, so when you spot a 1111, it's said that, it's a positive sign from the universe or from God, from angels, whatever energy you believe in. So that's a famous, it's just a famous number, but there are many such numbers, right? But some people get too obsessed with this also, too much obsession is also not good. If you spot it naturally, it's okay, but you don't have to get obsessed with it, right? To be like, oh, I love 1111. If I see it, everything is going to be proper in my life. Not really. If you're always on your phone, you will see hundreds of such numbers, right? So just take it in a natural way. No, it's very common to spot such numbers, but yes, it definitely holds a value. And it is also, I also have this reel, which was, it's another viral reel where, I got this information. It's not from mine. I got it from this article, I think, or from this YouTube channel. I don't remember. It's Mahabharata TV or something. I don't know if it's a website or a YouTube page. So in that, I read that in our culture, so we have different dimensions. So there are the first 11 dimensions is the material dimension, and that's why the number 11 holds that significance. If we want to get anything materialistically, it's governed by Shakti. Right? And the 12th onwards is governed by Shiva, the one that is non-material, the one that we cannot see. So the first 11 is governed by Shakti. That's maybe another importance to it. So that I have a reel on that also. So like this, various cultures give various perspectives about numbers. But yeah, numerology is also a branch of spirituality, and does numbers also hold value? Every number, every repeating number, 222, 333, 1212, everything holds value or energy, whatever you want to call it.
Every number. Mhm.
But
So
this became
we are
viral
basically
through
from that
TikTok.
computer science kind of field, and
This became viral through TikTok.
oh,
And in
okay.
spirituality, anything that becomes viral through TikTok shouldn't be taken too seriously also. Because people like to, it's like a
Even that.
wildfire. So imagine a huge forest, and the first tree you just light a fire. Till the end it is going to go. And it's going to be attached to too many things. That's also not right. You shouldn't get obsessed.
Exactly.
So
So
as
please
I
go
was
ahead.
saying that we are from the computer science kind of field. So in our field also, this one holds means it is of a lot of significance, because you have heard about that binary digits. It is
Yes,
either
yes,
zero
yes.
or one. So that one is true or positive kind of thing. So
Yes,
even
yes.
that plays a
As you
role in
said.
our field. Yeah.
Exactly. And though we have at least given
So
zero.
this is
So yeah, the ancient scientists also, apart from science, they were great believers of these systems of spirituality, right? So yes, everything, holds value if you give it value, right? If you don't give it value, it will not be of anything important. So 1111 might be a number for so many
yeah.
people. They may not attach any value to it. But for many, it is maybe a very divine number. Depends again on how you see it.
So it depends on the people's perspectives.
Yeah,
You can see it either in a positive way, or that might be just
exactly.
an ordinary number to you, right?
Exactly. That's it.
So yeah, ma'am, I was going through your Instagram and I saw a lot of mantras that can help a person in various things. So how do you come up with those mantras? Like, what is the whole process behind it? Do you personally do it, or is it like from
So
your
I
guru or
love
something?
Or
mantras,
yeah.
but I am not someone. But I love mantras, but I'm not someone who does too many at a given time. Um, while I love it and while I like to practice it, I'm not someone who does it too much. Or I do have my days when I do it, but I'm not. I wouldn't be here like, oh, every day I do everything. Not really, because with life you just have very limited time, right, for your own self. When you do, when you are studying and when you are also into business and you have clients and all of that. So I love mantras because I actually never started my journey with the idea of getting into mantras. So even when I tell that I'm an occultist, I am not an Eastern occultist. My interest lie in the Western systems. It was also because there is this misconception which I also believed. Our Indian systems are very hard. Even in astrology, Vedic astrology is very difficult. Even occult may the Eastern, whatever Indian occult is there, it's very difficult to master, very difficult to learn, right? So whatever Indian systems were there, it is always more advanced compared to the West. Okay. So I used to always stay away from mantras because I don't know anything. Even now I am a learner and I don't customize these mantras. These are some of the most popular and some of the lesser known mantras. So through my research, if I come across a mantra and if I feel like, okay, this can help my audience, right? Because for various different intentions. So these are not made by me. These are present in our scriptures, but given by great saints and all of them. So I share it on my page, so with instructions as to how to use it, or sometimes the pronunciation has to be right. So I like to research different. I love to research, especially in the field of spirituality. I like to research. It's not that you have to practice everything you learn. You can just read about it and be happy. So I'm that kind of a person, right? You don't have to practice everything, right? The same with what we learn in college. We study so much, but do we sit and practice every single thing that we study? No, you only study for the sake of knowledge, so that you have a wider sense of knowledge, right? In that one part you choose as a main thing, you do your masters, and then you start practicing it, right? The same thing with me. I do like to read a lot, learn different things, but I don't practice everything. Or even if I do, it's not like every day I do everything. you know Having that knowledge is important, so that if tomorrow someone asks me something, I can be like, okay, this much I know. This is something that I know. Or at least this 10% of that I know. So mantras is one such thing. Still, I'm a learner. There's so much, and it's a vast world. But whatever I come across or whatever I feel like, okay, this is unique, this is useful, that I just try to share.
Yeah, I feel mantras obviously help a lot because there is a specific energy while chanting them.
Yes, means there is
And
a
more than
vibe kind
that,
of associated with a specific.
exactly. And more than that, it's our culture. We have this obsession that only other deities are very strong, other culture things are very strong. So if we don't promote our culture and if we don't see the power in them, other people will not see it. A lot of foreigners come to India to learn all of these things, while we are
Exactly.
born, brought up, and we'll
Yeah.
die also here, but we will not know anything, right? We wouldn't even have touched the Gita, or we wouldn't have even read one line of the Puranas or something. So that was my intention, right? And they've been like, initially when I started out creating content around mantras, so one or two times, maybe I've miswritten the spelling. People have corrected me, and I have learned something new. So it's a learning process. I'm not here to tell that I know all the mantras. You have to do like this. No, I mean, I have made mistakes once or twice, I think, initially when I started sharing. Because usually as South Indians, when it's in Hindi, the way you translate or the way you chant, it's going to be different. So I have also learned a lot, right? And at the same time promoted our own culture, systems belonging to our own culture. So that was my intention. And the more regional you are, the more connected you become. So today if I give
Yes,
you
connected to a
one,
particular.
exactly, if I give you Ganesha,
Yes.
Lord Ganesha's idol, and the idol of some Greek god, it is very easy for you to connect with Lord Ganesha because you've seen him throughout your life. You know what to do, you know what he likes to eat. But will you know what that Greek god likes? You will not know. Na? Again, you have to sit and research. So it's very important to stay connected to our roots, our gods, our goddesses. It's very easy then, if for us.
Yeah, I completely, understand you're saying this because a friend of mine visited Isha Foundation. He was like, there were so many foreigners out there, and we Indians don't believe in such things. I was like, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, clearly. So, means talking about these beliefs, mantras. So these all means there are some sources available on YouTube, right?
Yes,
So,
so many sources.
what do you do?
Oh, what I watch on
Ah,
YouTube,
can you repeat?
it's vast. It's not just about
Yes.
spirituality. Most of the times, it's about other things, because when you are working with clients, just having that spiritual knowledge is not important. You need to have worldly knowledge. You
Clearly.
need to be able to relate to their problems. I can't just know the spiritual side of things and practically, like, let's say, I have clients from all backgrounds. I have clients who are doctors, their problems are different. Clients who are lawyers, clients who are into engineering. I have clients who are actresses come to me. So from all areas of life they come. So I need to know bits and pieces about everything, so that when I tell them something, I can understand their point of view. If I don't know anything about a lawyer's life, how will I be able to help them, or to guide them, or to even customize something and give?
Connect.
I must know, right? So YouTube is a great platform to learn about various things. You don't have to be an artist to study about art. You don't have to be a singer to study about music. Bits and pieces, I always encourage my students also. Whoever enroll for my courses, study everything. You don't have to like pursue it. It's not something that you have to mug up and give an exam. So study bits and pieces about astronomy, about our space, about engineering, right? About music, about fashion. So that's what I do on YouTube. I watch cooking videos. I watch videos on geopolitics, politics, history, because I'm pursuing history. A lot of videos on history, mythology, all of those things. I like to, listen music, but spiritual content is limited because YouTube, it's like everything is exaggerated. As I told you, YouTube is another
Yes.
TikTok in terms of spirituality. Everything is like overdone. Unnecessary things are there, unrealistic. Oh, you do this one thing and that person will call you. You just have to do this to dominate this person. I don't like such type of things. That's unrealistic. That is something that you shouldn't be doing also, right? So 80% of spiritual content on YouTube is bad, should be avoided. So there are very few gems, or very few times people make sense. So that's why spiritual content is less on YouTube, but other things I like to learn about. Maybe about deities, about different stories from our culture. That's really important. So
yeah, talking about meditation and spirituality. So, how does meditation or spirituality affects one life?
Yes, because there are many people who have a perception that we are not able to meditate, or they
true.
feel restricted that I should not, means they are not comfortable with that meditation thing. So, what is that particular zone? Means how does meditation affects one's life?
Again, there's this huge misconception about meditation, that meditation is just that monk or saint type meditation. You keep like this, you close your eyes and you have to sit and you have to not think anything. This is how 99% people perceive meditation. But I'll tell you where we're going wrong, and especially with our generation, why meditation is very difficult, because we are constantly multitasking. We are watching Netflix and eating. We are listening to music and talking to our friends. Right? We are constantly multitasking. And when you're multitasking a lot, you cannot focus on one thing naturally. Why do mental health issues like ADHD have become, are increasing these days? Why is our focus level very less? Because we are trained to multitask. The society around us will not wait. Okay, you eat your food very calmly. We will wait for you. The teacher will not be like, you take your own sweet time. We will wait. No, we are trained to multitask. So when our brains, which is very into multitasking, suddenly wants to become still, it's impossible. It's scientifically impossible to control your mind that way, right? So the first thing is you start slowly focusing on doing one single task at a time. So meditation doesn't have to be a process which happens when you close your eyes. You can open your eyes and meditate. Meditation simply means slowing down your nervous system. So we have something called a nervous system within us. Slow it down, pay attention to it, right? Focus on your breath, not on your thoughts. You can think about having pizza. You can think about the favorite movie on Amazon Prime. It doesn't matter, right? So just focus on your breath. So how are you breathing? How do you feel? Do you feel happy, or do you feel, a little irritated? So focus on these emotions within you and your breath work. And you can open your eyes. You can choose an object. So if, let's say, you're sitting in your room, so figure out one object. Take 2 to 3 minutes and completely focus on that object. You are in a meditative state, right? So meditation doesn't have to be that traditional way. Of course, that is advanced type and you will reach that level. But if you're jumping into it directly with this method, it will not work, right? So as much as possible, reduce multitasking. I know it's not fully possible to reduce multitasking. Yes. But as much as possible, reduce multitasking. And as much as possible, try out different methods. There's something called as guided meditation on YouTube. Just type guided meditation, 2 minutes, guided meditation, 5 minutes. You'll get thousands of videos. They will guide you through. There's a voice guiding you. You can try that out. Or the method that I told you. Open your eyes, observe things, but be present. Being present in your room is also very important. If I'm sitting in my room, be present in that space, right? So if your mom is cooking in the kitchen, use your senses. Listen to the sounds that she is making. If she's cooking something, what can you smell? So paying attention to your senses, your breathing, and your inner emotions. That's it. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to clear your head. You don't have to, be in that dead position or something. Nothing is needed. Sit straight or lay down. Up to you. So practice this for some months and later you can slowly shift into that closing eyes wala meditation and you can slowly start focusing on this area, your third eye, right? The third eye chakra between your eyebrows. You can start doing that later. But start with these methods. This will help you. Other methods will not help. It's impossible. You can't be waking up at 10 a.m.
It
for
is mainly about letting
years
thoughts
and
come
then
to us. Meditation,
exactly. You
basically,
don't
the whole
have to
concept is
control your
letting thoughts come
thoughts.
to us, letting things happen.
Yeah, let anything happen. Think about anything. It doesn't really matter. You're present in the moment, right? So that is important. You can think about anything. So in those advanced methods, yes, you start controlling your thoughts and all of that. But as a beginner, you can't do it, right? It's not practical. You can't aim for that thing. Start small. Start with simple
Yeah.
things.
Yes.
Meditate for months with your eyes open. See how that works. Start, if you're watching Netflix, just watch Netflix. Don't eat anything. If you're eating, shut down, Netflix and just eat. Pay attention to that chips packet and see the way your focus level changes. You will get irritated. You can't focus. With our generation, we get irritated if we are
Yeah,
just
that
trying to do
does.
one thing. It's really irritating, and that shows our mental capacity. We think that we are very fast, we are tech savvy. You are not. You cannot do one simple task alone, right? You have to mix everything and do.
You
So
can't give all of the focus to just one thing.
exactly,
We are living in such a situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
And
That's it.
talking about attention span, Insta Reels has, sudden created that thing. It has
Exactly.
decreased the
Decrease
attention
the.
span.
Decreasing the
Even
time.
the dopamine in just
But
30
even
seconds.
then,
That
we have to
sudden rise in
consciously choose to read an article. Try to read it. Okay, you can only read one paragraph. It's okay, but at least try. So from our side, what it is we are doing to correct ourselves. Let the world be however it want, right? Of course, big corporates will throw reels at you, but you shouldn't get too lost in that world. Close it and open a 30-minute YouTube podcast. Spotify may open a 20-minute podcast. Okay, you can listen for 2 minutes. Fine, you're at least done something, right? So start small. Don't have unrealistic goals. It'll not going to
Goals,
work,
realistic goals.
because for years you've trained your mind a certain way, and now all of a sudden you want to change it. It's not going to happen. No, your mind will find excuses. Arey band karo yaar, let's sleep. Why are you watching all of this? Let's go and play with our friends, or let's call our friend and chat for an hour. It'll find reasons. You just have to shut it down and start small.
wow.
Means there are so many things that we came to know means while talking to you, because we didn't have any idea about the field. We are being completely honest about
Yeah.
this. So we got to know about different terms.
You're open to the
So,
idea, and
when
that's
I
why
saw
you're coming across so many things. Again, you don't have to be a believer. Just be open to the idea of knowing, learning. You don't have to believe everything you learn. Especially because me being a humanities student, we learn so many things and we don't believe in it. See, what happens in science and commerce streams are everything is set. In humanities, you can question everything. You can question the actions of every historical figure. You can cross-question them. What evidence do you have? You can change perspectives. So here we are never taught to believe one thing, and that really helps us. So we are not trained to believe everything. This came in the textbook, you believe. No, they'll ask us, okay, do you think this really happened? Right? So that is very important. Just learn. You don't have to believe everything you see. You don't have to believe everything you read about. Just learn. Just keep your mind open, right? And that is how every scientific discovery or experiment also has happened. They have believed that,
Yes,
okay, this
because we
can be a
need those
possibility. Exactly. Nobody sets out with an idea that this is the truth, right? 200 years ago, microorganisms, who knew about microorganisms? Nobody knew, right? But when time came and when proper tools began coming up, we could see them and do further, research. The same thing. Time is an answer. Like 200 years from now, maybe they would have discovered so many new things which we couldn't have seen with our naked eyes, right? So you don't have to be a believer, non-believer. Just learn. That's the message I would like to give. Any subject, not just spirituality. Any subject. Just be a learner.
So yeah, when I came across your Instagram first time, I was like, tarot reading, occultist. This is something very interesting, and I was like, wow, I would love to learn more about it. So yeah, that's how it started for me.
And also our main major thought was to change the beliefs which people have. Means
Yeah.
generally they have kind of this that this thing is means bharosa nahi kar sakte kind of
Yeah,
that kind
That's
of thing.
also
So we
good.
just wanted people to get on
That's
this thing,
also good.
so that they
Even
can.
the non-believers are resources, because when everyone believes something and when everyone wants to do it, everyone wants to stick to it, there'll be no scope for growth. Nobody's going to challenge things. You need
nobody's
to have
questioning
people.
that.
Exactly. You need to have people who will question you. If not, your ego will take control and you'll be like, "Arey, I'm an expert. a lot of people, even though this is the
Yes.
spiritual field, and even though spirituality teaches you to be humble, there are a lot of people who are filled with ego, filled with greed, filled with unnecessary things, right? So you need non-believers, you need people who are critics to question you, right? Only then life will show you that you don't really know anything. You know just 0.001% of something maybe. So that is also very important.
Yeah. So, ma'am, it was great to have you here. So, we would like to conclude the podcast with this. So,
Thank you so much for doing this, ma'am. It genuinely means a lot as this was our very first episode and we were really nervous and excited at the same time. But yeah,
No, you
it
guys were
happened
amazing.
and we are
Nobody
really.
will tell that this is the first episode. Of course, I could sense that nervousness and no, like that. Okay, is it going well? How is it coming out? That's natural. But congratulations for your first episode. This is the first step, as I told you. Second episode, you are going to be 100 times better than this. You will know so much more, right? Third, you will be even better. But
Yeah.
yes.
without this first one, other episodes are meaningless, right? So congratulations to you
we won't.
for coming up with this idea, for reaching out to me, for being so patient and understanding. I wish you all the very best, and may you have amazing, amazing guests on your podcast from all different fields and backgrounds, and may you keep learning.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. It was great having you with us.